Hi, I'm Eric Blevins with HyprMX. We're at Pocket Gamer Connects in London, and I'm joined today by Akin from Tripledot. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So, co-founder, COO of Tripledot. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Tripledot and your co-founders as well, because I think you have quite an impressive list there.
Thank you. So Tripledot is we're a mobile gaming company. We started Tripledot about 4 years ago with three of us were co-founders. My co-founders are both from Israel. One is Lior Schiff. Lior was previously the co-founder of a company called Product Madness, which is now the second largest social casino company in the world.
We know Product Madness, yeah.
And Eyal is, he was the head of the creative department at Product Madness, and he's now our chief product officer. So Lior is the chief executive officer. I'm the COO. And Eyal is the chief product officer. Tripledot, last time we had this event, I think we were just getting started. We still kind of think that we're just getting started, but we're a bigger company now. So we have roughly 200 employees. Just about half an hour ago, we announced, as I emailed you earlier, we announced that we raised $116 million, which is a great milestone, but it's really kind of to invest in the future of the company. And mainly to be used for M&A, which we can touch upon later.
Okay. Congratulations, by the way. That's huge.
Thank you.
And that kind of is just continuing a trend for Tripledot. I mean, the last 2 years has been kind of nothing but growth for you guys, right?
Yeah, so we grew 3 times just in the last 12 months. And before that, we had grown like 4 times in the previous 12 months. Tripledot was started because we felt that the three of us are all games industry veterans. I mean, my background is at I was at Peak Games, and I was at Facebook for 5 years, and King, and we kind of saw that games exist in this kind of spectrum between creativity and data and analytics, and we're definitely feeling that there's a lot of gaming studios who love the craft of gaming, and that's fantastic. I mean, that's why all these amazing games exist. We're much more in the operating side. So like we focused on the unsexy part of gaming almost, right? The how to do user acquisition, how to do monetization, data-driven product management. And that bet has kind of paid off. Like one of our earliest products, which is still one of our biggest games, is Solitaire. And it's a classical solitaire game.
Right, you've got Solitaire, these are not like break
we didn't invent them.
Right.
We didn't invent them. But what we like to say is that when you look at our games on the surface, there's really nothing that you could say, okay, they're doing this differently. But under the hood, there's 100 things that we do 1% different. And in kind of, when you aggregate these, it all adds up.
I love the data-driven approach because 2 things that's cool about that is, like you said, maybe it's not the sexiest thing, right? But it's really, really interesting.
Yes.
And you can protect that. Like that's your secret sauce, right? Like no one can figure out the 1% of 100 things you're doing differently. So
it's funny actually, because when we are doing fundraising, people do ask us about our secret sauce all the time. And I wish there was an answer that said, our secret sauce is X or Y, but really it's just all the collection of these things that we do, that all add up. And it's been working really well. And a lot of times, we're having M&A conversations. We're actually acquiring game companies right now because we feel that we built that platform that, and a lot of the conversations we say, look, imagine if we were able to scale a solitaire game, imagine what we can do for your game. And that kind of message resonates really well with the founders that we talk to.
And speaking of mergers and acquisitions, is that the primary focus for Tripledot moving forward? Or is it a combination? Are you still doing third-party publishing, building in-house?
Sure. So we definitely are going to continue doing what we do. So I think there's 3 primary growth vectors for Tripledot. One of the growth vectors is we're going to keep building the type of games that brought us to this point because we've built amazing know-how in that capacity. So like ad-driven games, ad-based monetization games, we have a really strong know-how, and we want to leverage that. We know how to build those games. We know how to operate those games.
You don't abandon success, right?
We don't abandon success. We don't, fix what's not broken, right? The other thing is all of us actually come from, in-app purchase background. So, Lior and Eyal have built one of the most successful social casino games. I spent a lot of time at, King and way before at Peak. We are actually venturing in and building products that are in-app purchase monetized. So We have a few games that we're actually already launched, and we're going to continue launching a bunch of other games later this year that mainly monetize with in-app purchases or IAPs. So that's going to be the second growth vector. The third growth vector is going to be M&A. We feel that this message of, there's a lot of companies around us that, are really driven by, wanting to create the most amazing, racing game or football game or a match 3 game or whatever it might be, but that haven't invested or that are just, frankly, not well versed in the art of user acquisition. I say the art, but it's really more science. But and that's okay. I fully respect and admire that because that's kind of I think what creates an amazing partnerships is we can take a game like that and we can really scale that using our platform. So that's kind of going to be a very big area of focus for us.
And I noticed, I don't know if this is under Tripledot, or I know that you also personally are an advisor, an investor in a number of studios. And I've noticed a bit of a trend, or at least what I think is a trend, is a number of these studios are based in Turkey.
Yes.
And what's in the water over there? Like it seems in the recent years there's been such a powerhouse of studios coming out of Turkey.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So I'm Turkish, obviously, even though I haven't lived there in like 25 years or something. But yes, I am from Turkey originally. I have a lot of really close friends that so I don't invest because I want to be a career as an investor or anything like that. I just kind of like helping my friends out. So that's been the common thread through. I also have a few investments in Israel and a bunch in Europe and other places. It's not only Turkey, but what's happened in Turkey is very interesting. And I suspect we're going to see this in Israel, we're going to see this in Belarus, we're going to see this in other places is, there are these almost, you can call them universities, like centers of success that really inspire future generation of entrepreneurs. People go to, Playtika and they learn about mobile gaming at Playtika. And then after a while, they just want to do their own thing. What happened in Turkey is very uniquely, it's because of, what Peak Game was able to provide, both as a role model, but also a institution where a lot of these folks learn the craft of mobile games making. And, but, there's also other factors that play into this. It's not just the fact that there was Peak Games and Gram Games and other success stories. There is that it's a very talented, workforce, very hardworking workforce. And it's also quite young. And there's something about mobile games that actually fit the Turkish psyche very well. It's this kind of ability to rapidly iterate, creative, but at the same time analytical. And so that really kind of, I think, attracts people. And also, Turkey, because of the Forex situation, is just, very OPEX effective, and people just wanted, income streams in foreign currency because of the political situation back home.
Do you have other areas that you're starting to pay more attention to in terms of blockchain, crypto, NFT? I mean, there are so many kind of new things popping up now.
Yes.
What's your take on this? Is any of this going to be a big game changer for mobile games?
As participants in the industry, we have to pay attention, right? There's so many smart people just kind of pouring a lot of resources, et cetera. You have to pay attention. At the same time, as a startup founder, one of the biggest challenges you have is to say no. You have to say no to 100 things a day to focus, because focus is probably the most important thing you can do. So we try to really focus on our kind of core capabilities, what we are doing. And that's really, I cannot stress that enough. That's really important. So we're paying attention, but we can't just all of a sudden decide to, go into, the blockchain space because we think it's interesting. I think, the jury is still, out on whether or not that will be as big of a game changer as a lot of people think it is. I think no one wants to be the guy who kind of dismisses self. There's this, famous McKinsey study that kind of declared cell phones to be a niche market, and as a former McKinsey alumni, I can say that wasn't the company's best moment. So no one wants to be that guy to declare blockchain is not going to work. But, the most important thing for us is to kind of keep doing what we're doing, because there is just so much more potential at mobile gaming, at free-to-play mobile gaming. It's just so much potential. People have been saying it's so crowded, the CPIs are rising. For the last 10 years, I mean, really, ever since the inception, and they said the same thing about, Match 3 games when Candy Crush was so successful, and then Playrix emerged, and then now Dream Games is emerging, right? They're just absolutely crushing it. So there's just so much more room to go that I'm just very excited about, that. And, we're always keeping an eye on, the metaverse and, blockchain technologies and so on.
Yeah, it's all extremely interesting. But you're right. Like 3 years ago, we were like, oh, hyper casual won't be around long. And a lot of people got that wrong. So I agree. There's a lot more growth to happen. And speaking of growth, the mergers and acquisitions that have been happening recently are insane. I think even everybody's, jaw dropped on the last one. Like, whoa.
Biggest tech acquisition ever, right?
Crazy. So what's your take on this? Is this good for the industry? Is it neutral? Does it not matter? Like, what should we be paying attention to?
I think it is, overall, the fact that, these companies are, betting with their pockets, right? It's like Microsoft is very, the management team at Microsoft is probably one of the best management teams in tech. So the fact that they actually believe that Activision Blizzard is going to be a, great addition to them, I think is great. Take-Two is obviously a very well-run company. The fact that they are, invested in Zynga, I think is great.
Which also Zynga has Rollick on board.
Exactly.
So I love that's what we've noticed, like on the ad network side, we work with studios and partners, and then all of a sudden they're gobbled up, and then they're gobbled up, and it's really interesting how that change happens. Yeah.
I think by its very nature, because anyone can start a mobile gaming company, and the barriers to entry if mobile gaming is actually not that high, but the barriers of mastery are quite high, right? So it's a very consolidation and M&A friendly industry. Period. How this affects the industry, I think, is interesting. I think mobile games is still one of the most misunderstood industries. If you ask certain investors, they'll say, "Oh, it's content driven, it's hit driven," and I think that is the most misunderstood part. Mobile games, I dare say it's not hit driven. I think it's data driven, and I think we're at the cusp of everybody starting to understand that today. If you look at Playtika today, where Playtika is trading in the public market, I'm a shareholder, just disclosure, but like it is an absolute, calamity almost, because it is one of the best mobile gaming companies out there. And, if you look at the multiples and so on, it's definitely one of the most misunderstood. So I think we're going to see much more of this consolidation happen. And I think in the long run, it's going to be great for the industry because it just means there's more attention being paid to the industry.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing what you are investing in. I know there will be more of that as well. Really excited for Tripledot this year. Congratulations again on the funding.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing what you do with it.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you before another 2-year break.
Let's hope so, please.
Yes. Good to see you.
Take care. Thank you. You too, man.